Hello everyone and welcome to round 3 of the Formula Race Room Junior series of RRLeagues.com. We're very sorry to come to you with a bit of delay due to some technical issues, but we are right in time for the upcoming qualifying session in 5 minutes, which gives us just enough time to go through what you will be witnessing today in our stream. So on the screen you can see our full overview of this series. We are halfway through the series today with round 3, and we will be visiting the Silverstone historic circuit. More on that later. The first 2 rounds were at Mid-Ohio and Falkenberg, 2 small twisty tracks, very technical. Today we're going to a Formula 1 style circuit, which is a bit wider, a bit more forgiving, you might say, but the drivers have already stated that it's very difficult to get it perfectly right, and that will be exactly what is needed to win one of the 2 races that we have today. We have a 20-minute and one 40-minute race planned today with a top 10 reverse grid. So that should work out nicely. After this we have 3 more rounds to go, sorry. We're going to the Nürburgring, then Brands Hatch Indy, the small circuit, and then we finish the season off at the Hungaroring on the 24th of July. Weapons of choice for these races are the Formula Race Room Juniors. As you can see, no front wing, no rear wing, 145 brake horsepower, which doesn't seem a lot, but we can assure you, and the drivers as well, it's not easy to keep that power on the track. They weigh only 545 kilograms, so with that weight they're very light and very agile rear-wheel drive cars, and as I said, no wings to be found on this car. So it's all about the driver, all about keeping your minimum speed up. Having a look at the results from last race, we had a Robert Horvat winning the first round in front of Magnus Smedegaard and Radek Pavlacek, and the second round went to Tony Ukic, with Pavlacek taking another podium spot in second and Peter Backus completing the podium. We had some good races at Falkenberg, very short circuit, as you can see, 46 second lap. Today we are looking more at 2:13s to 14-minute lap times, but we will for sure see that during the qualifying session. Then after 2 rounds, the championship standings look like this. So the driver's standings on the left, Tony Ukic already taking 3 wins, but Magnus Smedegaard not letting him go in second spot. Radek Pavlacek is in third, and at the moment 18 drivers have competed in the races of this series, and that will for sure go up as we continue this championship. RRL Motorsport, that's Tony Ukic and Simon Fillingham, lead the team's championship in front of BH Racing and the Norfolk and Chance. Looking at the AM Cup standings, that's for any driver that has not earned a career podium in our premium series at RRL. So any driver not to have any podium in previous races at RRL can enter in the AM Cup, can also opt out. But there it's Ben Reynolds leading the pack with 115 points. Steve Carman is in second, and Clive Britton in third. Ranjiv Kelsey is in fourth, Paul Fenwick in fifth, and David Kochurek in sixth position. And then our fourth and last championship, the Ironman Cup, the Ironman Trophy, let's say, which just looks at how many laps everybody is completing. So it's key to stay on the lead lap and finish all your races. That's how we try to avoid having too many DNFs or rage quits in this in our championships. The Ironman Cup is available in all of our championships, and we discard any race winners. So far that's been Tony Ukic Ukic and Robert Horvat. They are not eligible to win this Ironman Cup, but at the moment we still have 5 drivers on the maximum of distance of 288.667 kilometers. And just before we dive into the qualifying session, a bit of a plug for our other series in our so-called Summer of Thunder 2019 series. We always have 4 championships on offer during our seasons, and the first one is season 29. It's the DTM 92 BMW versus Merck Championship, which has seen a great attendance, is also live streamed on Sunday evenings, and has been a great success for the past 3 rounds. Then we have season 30 Formula Race Room Junior. That's what we are looking at today. Then we have a new series which has been replacing our SummerSlam series, which saw low attendance, and that's taking advantage of the very new FR90 cars by Race Room, and we are hosting a 4-race championship with those cars. We're going to Spa, Suzuka, Hungaroring and Imola. And then last but not least, season 32 is our R Factor 2 series with the famous Flat 6 mod, which has seen some great attendance, just like the DTM cars. In Race Room we've seen approximately 30 driver grids and great racing throughout the field, so that's always nice to see. Season 29 and Season 30 are live streamed. The other 2 series are not, but don't let that hold you back to visit our website, and if you want to get involved in the racing, there are still some spots to be had in all of the series, but very few. I think Flat 6 there is 1 spot left. In DTM there is no spot left. In any case, the Formula Race Room Junior, there are quite some spots left here. This is the least popular series at the moment for the summer series. And then FR90, 15 minutes ago, there was 5 spots left from the 36 possible entries. So very nice sign-up numbers there, totaling almost over 100 drivers, with duplicates of course signed up. And then let's hop in to the race today. We are at the Silverstone Historic Circuit. Now, it almost looks like the modern Grand Prix circuit, the modern Formula 1 Grand Prix circuit. Main differences are Vale at the middle of the track, which is the left-right chicane at the end of the normal lap in Formula 1, which is a bit more open wide, so more of a left-right fast chicane instead of a slow one, and then most importantly the lap starts just before Copse, so the old pit lane is used, and we will start the race on the straight between Woodcut and Copse. So just a small difference, but with these cars that will prove well, very interesting, especially the fast chicane will provide a good passing opportunity if you get a better run through that, and then get a good run through Club for the fast section that comes after that. And just like that, we already made it into the qualifying session. The guys are in their outlaps now, so let's have a look at the qualifying session for this race. Here we are, Tony Ukic, our championship leader. On his outlap, and Clive asking what's the bit in the middle. Let's see if we can find that out. That's well, yeah, that's indeed, I think it's called Stowe Circuit. It's a mini circuit. I think it's made for karts, if I'm not mistaken. So that's that in the middle of the Grand Prix circuit. So Tony Ukic has been the man to beat in this series. let's follow him around and see what he can do in this qualifying session. At the moment, turnout is not great. We must say we have 9 drivers on the grid, but that will not make the racing less fierce. We have some AM drivers, we have some pro drivers, and the pace is quite evenly spread out. So let's see what this qualifying session brings, and let's drive on board with Tony Ukic as he starts his benchmark lap. So here we are coming up to Cops, hard braking, and go out as wide as you possibly can or dare, not to get a cut track warning. Then through the Beckett's complex. Oh, a bit wide over the grass there for Tony, so not the perfect lap, but he keeps going through Chapel and onto the Hanger Straight. Coming up to Stowe, and then we will see how open wide that Vale chicane is with our own eyes. So hard braking for Stowe. Keep that minimum speed up and hit that apex on the right. Late apex is preferred here to get on the power as early as you can. And then here is the fast left-right chicane, so a lot faster than it normally is in the current Formula 1 layout. And then on the power and coming up to Abbey. Also a challenge in these cars. There will be some braking involved to get the car pointed in the right direction. Through Farm Curve, then hard braking for Village. Down through the gears and all the way to the right to get a good and clean run through the loop. And then onto the power through Aintree. So a lot longer lap than Valkenburg 2 weeks ago, but it will provide some good passing opportunities with this wide track. Braking into Brooklands, keeping it very, very tight here, Tony Ukic, and then it's here waiting. When do you get on the power? Now you do, and you take advantage of all the curbing on the left and power out over the line. Let's see what kind of time he sets, unless he got a cut warning. Yeah, yes he did, so he is starting his lap now. Let's have a quick check. Greg Metcalf is setting the best sectors so far. He is in sector 3, braking for Brooklands. And he sets a lap at 2:14.4. Simon Fillingham just in front of him with a 2:14.3. And going faster on his first sector. So Tony Ukic's teammate setting the pace at the moment. And as I was expecting 2:13s, 2:14s. Looking at the leaderboard times, Tony Ukic is the leader on that as well. And he set it 2:12.5 there, so let's see if we can replicate that on the track here for the race. Drivers will not have too many attempts here with the long lap and only 15 minutes of qualifying. But I'm sure they will manage. Simon Fillingham also up on the second sector, losing a bit of time to his own lap record. And as always, if you have any questions for us, as Greg goes very, very sideways here. through Brooklands, but onto the power for another lap. Can he improve on his time? Ukic now with a 13.2. Can Fillingham get close to his teammate? He's 5/10 behind with a 13.6. So 13s are the times to get. Ben Reynolds, our leader in the AM Cup, just made it in time for this race. Let's see if he can set a good lap. He had a small injury today, so let's see if he is on the pace here around the Silverstone circuit. And to 17.0, that's almost 4 seconds off the pace, but first in the AM Cup at the moment. His rivals are Colin Barker, Stefano Merazzi, and Elio Fernandez. So we have 5 pro drivers, 4 AM drivers, and at the moment they are completely split. But as we see, Vlastimir Lukas in third, or was in second. Robert Horvat now getting close to Tony Ukic as well, only 1/10 behind. And Colin Barker also improving on his first sector. So Robert Horvat getting very, very close. Also Vlastimir Lukas and Simon Fillingham all within half a second of each other. Greg Metcalf has a bit of work to do to get close to these guys. Quite some guys running their home Grand Prix. Fillingham, Metcalf, Reynolds and Barker, all British drivers. And Colin Barker setting green sector times, so he is improving. Can he get in front of Ben Reynolds for pole position in the AM Cup? That's the question. And just looking at these cars, you see that it's that they are very, very light and very difficult to keep pointing in the right direction. Very nice line there for Colin. Let's see if it also was fast. Across the line with a 2:15.5, and he goes for pole position in the AM Cup. Let's have a quick look. Tony Ukic on his outlap, Robert Horvat as well on his outlap. I think everybody's on their outlap. Vlastimir Lukas now just starting his fast lap. Let's see what he can do. He's in third spot. Can he improve his time? Can he get close to Ukic and Horvat? Let's jump on board with him, will we? Through the Maggots Beckett's complex. That was a very tight line there over the curbs, but a good run. And a 31.6. Ukic's sector 1 was a 31.1, so he is off the pace at the moment. Not set to improve, or not set to go for a pole time, but we still have some time left. 4 minutes to go. It's important to note that when the timer hits 0, the session is over. There's no completing the lap that you have started. You need to cross the line before the timer hits 0 to make your lap count. So everybody should be on their laps now. Tony Ukic with a 31.2 in the first sector. That's 1/10 of his own best time. He's in the second sector now. And starting a new lap here, so he did have a cut there on that first lap, invalid lap time. Also Vlastimir Lukas, last lap time was invalid. We have Barker, Reynolds and Fernandez in the pits, so only Stefano Merazzi in the AM Cup is still running. He needs to find 1.8 seconds to get in front of Colin Barker. And he is just starting a new lap, I see. So let's follow that up. Tony Ukic with a fastest first sector. Second sector needs to be a 1:22.1 or quicker. That's the benchmark. Coming up on that time very, very soon. And a 1:21.9, so Tony Ukic going even faster. Also Simon Fillingham not on the track anymore. Greg Metcalf also not. So they will all not improve. Or Fillingham at a... No, he's not in the pits. He is still running. Stand to Brooklands, then Luffield. Vlastimir Lucas is in the pits. Let's have a quick look what Robert Horvat is doing. Not a great first sector. Tony Ukic, will he improve? Will he get into the 1:12s? It sure looks like it if he had a good third sector. And it's a 1:12.7. What a lap by Tony Ukic. Robert Horvat looks like he's slowed it down. He has to get a 1:21.9. That should be possible, but he's 1:22.6, so that's not looking good to beat Tony Ukic. Stefano Merazzi, a green second sector, and coming up on the final timing line right now. We have 40 seconds to go. Can he move up in the AM Cup order? We have Barker from Reynolds, then Merazzi, and then Elio Fernandez. And the results already coming up, but the session is not over yet. Let's see what Merazzi does. A 2:17.2 was his all-time, a 2:16.5 is his new lap time, which keeps him in third position, but only 1/10 behind Ben Reynolds. So it's Colin Barker taking the pole time in the AM Cup. Robert Horvat, he is still running, but he will not set another lap time. So it's Tony Ukic taking another pole position for race 1 here at the Silverstone Historic Circuit. We have 50 seconds, sorry, to go until the race starts. So the drivers should now be loading their race setups with race fuel and getting ready for the start of this third round, 2 heats, third round of this championship. We'll be right back with you. So the lights are on. Tony Ukic is on the right, and there we go. It's a good start by Tony Ukic. Robert Horvat looks at the inside though. But Ukic stays in front. Oh, and a bit of a collision between Lucas and Horvat. So Lucas goes into second spot. Horvat is behind but goes a bit wide. So it's Fillingham now up to third position. Horvat dropping back, but still on the track at the moment. No, sorry, he's still dropping back down to 7th. But Tony Ukic holding on to his first spot, and Fillingham forcing Lucas to go defensive into the end of the Hanger Straight. That's Stowe corner. Sorry, was a bit confused by the different starting position. First time through this fast chicane here for Tony Ukic. Already a 1 second gap to Lucas behind. And Horvat got going again. He's behind Reynolds and Fernandez. So Ben Reynolds getting into first spot in the AM Cup for now. Fernandez in second. Barker is in third. Merazzi in fourth position. Very, very quick lap time in the qualifying session by Tony Ukic. So can he take advantage of the clean air in front and build a bit of a gap? It sure looks like it. Fillingham followed by Metcalf. So it's a team's battle. We have RRL Motorsports leading the team's championship, Tony Ukic and Simon Fillingham in first and third, and we have BH Racing, Vlastimir Lucas and Greg Metcalf in second and third. So alternating the teams there as we finish our first lap here at the Silverstone Historic Circuit. Tony Ukic leads the way in front of Lucas and Fillingham. So the top four here, with a bit of a gap to Ben Reynolds behind Robert Horvat. As we said, dropped down a little bit, so he is looking to make his way up the field past Reynolds and Merazzi, and Colin Barker, no, Fernandez, sorry, dropped back. He was in second behind Reynolds, but he dropped back now. He's in last position. Horvat now making his way past Colin Barker. He only has Ben Reynolds in the AM Cup to fight against now, before he can try to get close to the top four here, who are very close, except for Ukic, who's run away. The guys need to try and make sure they try to follow him around. Metcalf, Fillingham here. Oh, he had a crash on the main straight, but he gets going again. He's down in 8th position now. So some kind of incident between Fillingham and Metcalf, I think. That's not the way you want to drop out of that podium battle. But he can try to get close now again to Robert Horvat. In this case, he's in 5th position. The gaps in front have grown a bit. Robert Horvat is now right on the back of Ben Reynolds, who moves over to the inside to let Robert pass. Opts to not fight Robert for position, although he is entitled to do so. It's not because you are in the AM Cup that you should let pro drivers go, but sometimes that's a wise decision if you are battling for the AM Cup championship. So it's Reynolds from Barker and Merazzi right behind Barker, so the top three in the AM Cup covered by mere seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, and Merazzi is looking a bit quicker than Barker at the moment. Let's ride with him through the Maggots-Beckett's complex. Fillingham is 10 seconds behind Elio Fernandez, a further 10 seconds. Having a look at the last lap times, 13.2 for Ukic, and then Lucas and Horvat are in the 14s, low 14s. Metcalf did a 2:16.3, so he's losing a bit of pace at the moment, or just had a bad lap, of course, that's possible. But no one getting close to Tony Ukic's lap times at the moment. 3-second gap at the front after 6 minutes of racing. and Merazzi. We follow this battle here for the AM Cup. Worth to note, Barker and Reynolds, they are teammates. They are the Norfolk and Chance. They are in 3rd position in the team's championship overall. So not in the AM Teams Championship, which is another thing at RRLeagues. So will they play the team battle? That will be difficult. I'm sure Barker will want to try keep Merazzi behind at any cost, even if Reynolds would not be in front of him. So we'll see what happens there. Oh, very, very wide onto the grass by Merazzi. This race is a 20-minute race only, so no pitting would be required in this race, but the second one is a 40-minute race, and there has been pit stops in all of those races so far. Let's quickly switch to Colin Barker as Merazzi dropped off a little bit. Horvat was closing the gap down to Metcalf a couple of minutes ago, but he is now 4 seconds behind, so not really getting any closer. Colin Barker will have a look at his teammate, going for the inside into Stowe, and it looks like he gets past. Yes, he does. Colin Barker up into P1 in the AM Cup, 5th position overall. And Stefano Merazzi not too far back, of course. Let's have a look if Fillingham has the pace to get past these guys. Yes, he does. A 14.1 against 16s by Merazzi, Reynolds and Barker. So Fillingham will be joining this battle if he can keep this pace up. He's not too far back. And Barker also not too far back from Robert Horvat. So as we said, these cars are quite tricky to drive, so it will be key to not make any mistakes. We saw that in the first 2 races. The driver, especially in the AM Cup, who doesn't make mistakes, will most likely be on the podium or even take away the win. Let's have a look back from Colin Barker's car. Getting some good airtime here, the AM Cup drivers, as the battle in the Pro class for the podium is a bit spread out at the moment. Ukic now almost a 5-second gap behind him to Vlastimir Lukas, so he can go a bit defensive, can do his own lap times and manage the gap. But knowing Ukic, he will be trying to make that gap as big as possible. It's very easy to lose concentration if you're not going at 100% or at least 99. So that's not what you want to be doing. Barker with a 15.9 on that last lap. Reynolds is 17.4. So it looks like Barker has a bit of pace advantage over his teammate, which also enabled him to make a clean pass into Stowe at the end of Hanger Straight. And at the moment, he's able to more or less stick with the top 4. There's a bit of a gap, but not dropping off massively. The gap between Merazzi and Fillingham. Let's have a quick look from Fillingham's car. Here he is, the in the orange sports car, so he sees the top three in the AM Cup there in front of him, and trying to close down that gap to 14.6 for him, to 17.2 for the guys in front, the two guys in front of him, so he is closing in at a rate of knots. Robert Horvat is closing down the gap to Greg Metcalf. So after the incident on lap 1 for Robert Horvat, he's picking up the pieces and now looking at a podium finish. Of course, it's only a 20-minute race and we're over halfway through, only 8 minutes to go, so these races go by very, very quickly, and it's a long lap, so yeah, not too many laps or passing opportunities to go here for Robert. He wants to get close and past as soon as he can. Also, fueling could become an issue here at the end of the race, because it's such a long lap, and when the timer hits 0 in the race session, you do get to finish that lap when the leader crosses the line. So if you have a bit of bad luck and Tony Ukic is a bit too fast for your calculations, then you could end up with a very empty fuel tank at the end of the race. We saw a bit of drama already in the DTM series on Sundays, in the first race at Zolder, and also here in at Mid-Ohio we had a bit of drama with low fueling. So yeah, these are sprint races. The guys want to try and keep anything that they can under control, and Robert Horvat now on the gearbox of Greg Metcalf through Aintree. Not close enough for a move yet, but he has to be patient. Lucas is a bit too far in front to realistically close down on him and make a pass, unless he makes a mistake. Oh, Greg Metcalf takes a bit of a different line, seems a bit slower. Oh, and a collision there between the two. That's very unfortunate, and not what we normally see from these two drivers. I think Robert just overshot his braking point, but they get going again, and Robert leaves Metcalf the position. So nothing lost, but that means Colin Barker and Ben Reynolds are right behind them. Stefano Merazzi is also not too far back, so that battle for the podium spots in the AM Cup still brewing, and Merazzi not giving up on that position. Fillingham is not yet at the back of this pack, so not having a great night in this first race, but that can all change in the second race. Of course, we have a reverse grid and it's a top 10 at the moment. Unfortunately, we only have 9 drivers, but that will mean Fernandez will start on pole, and we will work our way in the opposite direction. So now positions 3 to 8 covered by 10 seconds or even 8 seconds. So looking very close here for the final 5 minutes of this race, and no mistakes can be made, because you will for sure lose positions. Meanwhile, Vlastimir Lucas, the gap was over 7 seconds at some point. He's closing it back down bit by bit just now, but well, in normal circumstances there will not be enough time to get going again. Again, Greg with a slightly different line to Robert, who will be braking in time for this one, but Greg just takes a different line and brakes at a different point to take a very, very tight line through Luffield, and that catched Robert Horvat out, it seems. Still the battle for the podium is on, and Colin Barker now again made a bit of a gap to his teammate Ben Reynolds. So Colin Barker set to win the M Cup for race 1. And Fillingham now only 2 seconds behind Stefano Merazzi, and Merazzi, he's now right on the tail of Ben Reynolds. Of course, we have a 3x multiplier as we just see Greg Metcalf losing position to Robert Horvat, or not. Horvat around the outside of Stowe at the end of Hanger Straight, but Metcalf defends. Now Robert is on the inside for the fast chicane. Will they go side by side? Yes, they do, more or less. And Greg defends his position for now, but pressure is on for Greg Metcalf. Meanwhile, Colin Barker just sits back and is looking to pick up the pieces if these guys come together again. They have 2 minutes and 30 seconds still to go. Ben Reynolds and Stefano Merazzi behind. They are also still very closely, battling very closely. Let's have a quick look here. Here's Merazzi, Ben Reynolds in front, Fillingham behind. So it's all kicking off in the final minutes of this race now. Vlastimir Lukas now matching Tony Ukic's pace. Gap's not coming down, but it's not growing anymore. And again, that wider line for Robert Horvat through Luffield. Does that give him an advantage here? Fillingham just got past Merazzi. Sorry, we were following the podium battle. Yes, Fillingham up to P7 past Stefano Merazzi. But Stefano not giving up, looking at the inside for Stowe, but not yet. And here they are side by side again through Maggots Beckett's. Oh, side by side, touching wheels. And Robert Horvat stays behind again, and we have Colin Barker now very, very close. And Horvat slowing down. No idea why. So he must have had some kind of collision to let Colin Barker past, because he's still running. He thinks he can get past again before the end of the race. Fillingham looking at the inside of Ben Reynolds through Stowe here. Colin Barker. Horvat got back past, here we see that, but just going back to the battle between Reynolds and Fillingham. Simon having a look to the inside and taking the position, it seems. Yes, he does. Now Reynolds has to look out for Merazzi behind, making sure he doesn't get caught out and loses his position. Horvat and Barker still fighting. Horvat gets past, so Barker got past again, and Horvat really all over the place at the moment. Once again has to slot in behind. We have 0 minutes on the clock. Where is Tony Ukic? He will finish the race off now, so we don't have a lot of time. Vlastimir Lukas will finish in second spot. Greg Metcalf in third. But here is the battle. Colin Barker looks like he will be taking fourth spot in a... oh, Horvat goes for the inside. How will they finish? Barker is still in front. Barker is still in front. And he keeps fourth spot. Yes, he keeps fourth spot. Horvat in fifth. Fillingham made it past Ben Reynolds, as we saw, up into P6. Reynolds in 7th, Merazzi in 8th, and Elio Fernandez will finish in 9th position. So it all started off quite civilized, but those final 5 minutes were hectic as hell for all the drivers. So very nice racing here. So we had a limited amount of drivers, but Tony Ukic, fastest lap and race winner, takes the win in front of Lucas and Metcalf. Colin Barker, the first of the AM Cup drivers, in P4. Then we have Horvat in P5, Fillingham in P6. Ben Reynolds taking second spot in the AM Cup, and Stefano Merazzi completing the AM Cup podium. Elio Fernandez finished in last position overall, in 4th position in the AM Cup. And in 45 seconds we're doing it all over again, so I'll be right back. So we will have Elio Fernandez starting from pole here. Stefano Merazzi behind him, then Ben Reynolds and Simon Fillingham. And the lights are up. And there we go. Elio Fernandez gets going. Oh, and a collision between, I think it's Fillingham and Merazzi. No, it's Ukic and Merazzi. Ukic has to slow down, wait for Merazzi to rejoin. That's the gentleman's rule here at RRLeagues. So drama for our championship leader, Tony Ukic, who seems he got going again. Will he be waiting for his victim? At the moment, Elio Fernandez is out in front. Robert Horvat, Vlastimir Lucas and Tony Ukic. So Tony Ukic got going again, and looks like it was Fillingham who collided with Merazzi. Yeah, sorry, a bit of confusion there regarding the team driver. So Fillingham again in last position, not having the greatest of nights here. But this battle here for P2 between the pro drivers, also Greg Metcalf is right behind. So we have Elio Fernandez at the moment in the lead of the AM Cup and in the lead of the race. Colin Barker is the second AM driver, and Ben Reynolds in 3rd. Merazzi is currently in last position, so Fillingham got already back past him. We have 40 minutes on the clock here for this second race, so this will include a pit stop. Shame about that incident on the start. Seems like Merazzi didn't really get going because Fillingham just plowed into the back of him, which of course would need to be reviewed. First laps always get reviewed at RRLeagues by the stewards. Any incidents later in the race can be submitted. Fernandez defending his first spot, and that bunches up the whole gang behind Robert Horvat, Lucas, Tony Ukic, Greg Metcalf, all within 2 seconds. And Elio Fernandez keeping it together for now, and Vlastimir Lucas on the outside of Robert Horvat. Will they go side by side through Stowe? No, Lucas is just behind. Fernandez loses the position. No, he doesn't. He keeps stays in front here through Maggots, Beckett. Let's have a look from his back wing, shall we? Well, there's no wing, but from his gearbox then. Robert Horvat almost pushing him. He goes for the inside for Stowe, but loses some grip, it seems, or some speed. But gets past Elio. Now the rest will want to follow through, or Robert Horvat will certainly try to build a gap. He's a former #1 ranked driver at RRLeagues.com. So that's not someone you want to gift first place to. Lucas follows through, and now Elio Fernandez has to defend from Tony Ukic, who goes for the inside line as well, and I think will get past here in the fast right-hander. Yes, he does. Lucas makes it past Robert Horvat. Let's stay with this lead battle for now. So Lucas finished in second in the first race, so he clearly has the pace. Elio Fernandez really holding his own here in this field, defending from Tony Ukic, retaking his third spot, but now Ukic is on the outside for Brooklands. Meanwhile, Metcalf is right behind them. Still Fernandez defending very nicely and very fairly, keeping it tight for Tony Ukic, but he, I think he's past now, or at least he should be. Yes, he is. Now he just needs to stay on the inside for Stowe and have a good braking, and then he should be rid of Elio Fernandez. Looks like that's job done, but he lost a bit of contact with the top two now, Horvat and Lucas, with a bit of a gap. And we see Metcalf now behind Fernandez, followed by Barker. So Barker has his AmCup leader in his sights. Greg Metcalf just got past Elio Fernandez, and now it's a man-to-man battle for the AmCup win, or lead, should I say, between Fernandez, Barker and Reynolds. Reynolds with a 5-second gap there behind his teammate Colin Barker, and there is some action. Fillingham trying to get past Ben Reynolds, and he does. Reynolds looks like he let Fillingham go. So now the top three separated by 2 seconds, as we're already 7 minutes into this race. So let's have a quick look through the field. It's Lucas from Horvat, Ukic and Metcalf in the pro class. Then we have Fernandez, Barker. Then Fillingham also in the pro class, Reynolds and Merazzi. So it's all still quite bunched up. Merazzi suffered from his lap 1 incident. He's in last position, but he showed some good consistency in the first race, so he might be getting on the back of some of these groups. Here's the battle for the AmCup lead between Fernandez and Colin Barker. A good night so far for Colin Barker. Colin taking the ideal line. And getting past Elio Fernandez. So here we are, Barker getting to the front of the AmCup field once again. after almost 10 minutes of racing. Horvat now still only half a second behind Lucas, so Lucas will not run away with this. Ukic gained half a second in the last lap on these guys. He was clearly the fastest guy on the track in the first race, so this is shaping up to be a really tasty battle in a couple of minutes. Once again, guys, if you have any questions about the race, about the drivers, and especially about our racing series, if you want to get involved, ask it here in the chat, or head on over to our Facebook website, forum, whatever. You'll find us by looking for RRLeagues.com for some race room and R Factor 2 racing. Robert Horvat now on the curbs, losing a bit of time, and Tony Ukic is there to take advantage. On the gearbox now, and on the inside for Stowe. Meanwhile, Lucas disappears off into the distance. Ukic is on the inside. Oh, side-by-side contact. Not sure what happened there. Oh, and a big crash there for Robert Horvat. Let's have a look if Tony is slowing down for that. I don't think that that was intentional. Just yeah, a bit of difficulty into that braking zone for Stowe corner, where some lines are not very clear because the track moves over to the left, let's say. So unfortunate incident, putting Robert Horvat back into P6, just in front of Simon Fillingham, who is here, just behind Robert Horvat. So well, that's a nice pro battle. They need to get past Fernandez and Barker if they want to get back into the battle for the podium with Greg Metcalf. So it's a man-to-man battle now between Lucas and Ukic, and Lucas proved in the first race he can match the pace of Ukic, at least in the later stages of race 1. That was the case. So let's see what happens there, and let's also see what Horvat and Fillingham can do by the end of the race. Will they trip over each other here, or will they first clear Fernandez before starting their own battle? Horvat goes for the inside on Fernandez, who's still running well. No mistakes from him so far. And that's Horvat going through, but Fernandez defends on the outside through Kops. Let's have a look from Simon Fillingham's perspective. Fernandez reclaims his place between the two pro drivers, so nice driving from him. Now can Fillingham get a good run here? Fast acceleration as early as you can, and then take advantage of the slipstream to try and get past on the inside of Stowe. Now don't have that side-by-side contact Horvat and Ukic had, please. Fernandez braking very late here in these hard braking zones, doing very well, and Fillingham having to slow down to avoid a collision there with Fernandez. So clearly Simon can get on the power a bit earlier than Fernandez. Fernandez braking later than him, so not easy to pass, of course. The lead gap now still over 1 second. Metcalf in third spot, dropping back from the top two, 7.5 seconds behind, and Barker is in fourth, and Fillingham on the inside now for Fernandez, and still he's defending. So it looked like he was beaten, but then he just came back. So Very strong defending by Elio. He doesn't want to let that 6th place go. Goes again, takes the defensive line for the breaking into Brooklands. Fillingham now finally gets past. That's what he wanted. And let's have a quick look through the field now. In last spot we have Stefano Merazzi, 3 seconds behind his closest rival Ben Reynolds. As we said, driving with an injury today, so still doing well, but showing up here especially to try and defend his AM Cup Championship leading position, and he is doing quite well. It's not we don't really see that he is struggling, so doing well there. Elio Fernandez then in 7th, he's 2nd in the AM Cup. Then we have Simon Fillingham. In front of him is Robert Horvat. Then we have Colin Barker in the AM Cup. Let's see if he can keep that 4th spot once again, just like in the first race. Then we have Greg Metcalf for BH Racing. So BH Racing now in 1st and 3rd, as Fernandez gets past Fillingham. Fillingham off the track, made a mistake, I suspect. And Fernandez goes through Reynolds and Merazzi now right on the gearbox of Fillingham, as the lead gap comes down to half a second. Let's just for a moment stay with this battle. Normally Fillingham should have the pace to make a bit of a gap on these guys, but after a couple of incidents, first lap and now this, not sure if he has the pace in hand to do this. Looking at the lap times at the front, Lucas's best time 2/10 quicker than Ukic, so he has his work cut out for him. And we also have a close battle between Barker and Horvat. Let's have a quick look. Horvat into the pits with 24 minutes to go. That's a very early pit stop by Horvat. He wants to do the undercut and get close to Greg Metcalf, it seems. But Robert Horvat, the first one to get into the pits. And here is that lead battle. Tony Ukic and Vlastimir Lucas. Horvat dropping down to last spot. And the battle there between Fillingham, Reynolds and Merazzi still raging on, but we stay with the lead battle here for now. I don't suspect these guys will be pitting just yet, but it is possible. Oh right, yeah. We're using the old pits, so not to the right of here. My mistake. Oh, a bit of a slide there from Lucas and a collision, but no harm done so far. But it's getting very, very close. I'm even starting to repeat my my own words. Over the curbs and then through Aintree. Let's have a quick look at that battle with Merazzi, Reynolds and Fillingham. Fillingham got in front, or is still in front of that pack, and Reynolds still holding Merazzi behind. So at the moment it's Reynolds in second, behind his teammate Colin Barker, and Merazzi in third spot. No, sorry, it's Fernandez. He's in second spot in the AM Cup. Reynolds completing the podium. Merazzi just behind that, and we have Reynolds going into the pits. And Tony Ukic and Vlastimir Lukas, they need to remember to pit in this race. Well, they don't have to. It's completely up to them, but their tires will start to get worn. Robert Horvat, like that, gains 1 position. And having a look at the last lap time by Horvat, 2:33, so that's still taking into account pit stop time. So we can't judge if he's closing down that gap yet. But you see Ukic and Lukas really starting to struggle with their tires. Now the gap's quite evenly spread out. Barker and Metcalf are the closest ones, and again Lukas goes quite wide here in into this turn. Hard braking now for the right-left combination through the loop here. We already saw it with Horvat and Lukas in or Metcalf, sorry, in the first race. Quite some different lines that you can take. So let's keep an eye out on pit stops, shall we? Horvat still showing a 2:33 last lap, so not able to judge yet, but the top last time was a 2:16 by Lukas. So that's well, 3 seconds of their fastest lap, so really dropping off. Lukas now into the pits. Tony Ukic keeps going for 1 more lap and wants to get clean tires for the end of the race. Lukas on the jacks for new tires. We'll have to see where everybody else slots in. Let's just see how far behind Horvat is behind Lukas. Lukas gets going again. Robert Horvat, 5 seconds. Not too far. He's not too far back. 4 seconds behind Lukas. So that's not very much. Here's Tony. Colin Barker is right on the gearbox of Greg Metcalf, and that's on pure pace and merit. So doing a good job here. Simon Fillingham, he is almost 15 seconds behind those guys. So still having to pit. We'll have to see what the pit cycle brings. So Tony Ukic making his way to the end of this lap. Surely he will be hitting the pits now. Stefano Merazzi is right behind Robert Horvat, but let's see. At the moment, Colin Barker in third, showing good pace behind Greg Metcalf, and a Robert Horvat with a 2:13.6 on his last lap, so he set his fastest lap just now, and gaining quite some time on the guys in front. He's only 3-4 seconds behind Lukas now. So let's just see Tony Ukic in the pits, also on the jacks for new tires and possibly a bit of fuel. Not sure. I don't think so. It's a quick stop. Metcalf also in the pits. Vlastimir Lukas comes out behind Ukic, so could not take advantage of that extra lap with fresh rubber to do the undercut. No, sorry, it's Ukic getting past, so a faster pit stop once again. Ukic already showed in the previous races that he can do some very fast pit stops in these cars, and that gifts him first position with fresh tires that are one lap less old. So that's a good position to be in. Let's see if Lucas can get close to Tony and keep him from a second win on a row, and 5 out of 6 race wins. Oh, big slide for Lucas, and he can't correct it. Second spot. Tries to get going again, but spins it on the grass. Robert Horvat getting up to P2. That's not what he had expected. Greg Metcalf coming up on Lucas as well, his teammate. Metcalf will get in front as well, so Metcalf on the podium now. Very unfortunate incident, all on his own, with fresh tires by Vlastimir Lukas, trying to push very, very hard, and it's Greg letting him back through. So Greg knows Vlastimir seems to have more pace than him. So yeah, a 10-second gap to make up to Horvat in front. That will for sure not be easy. But looks like Metcalf thinks Vlastimir is in the best position to try and do so. Oh, looking at last lap times. Tony Ukic's lap time doesn't tell us anything yet, but at 13.6 it was for Horvat. Tony Ukic driving around now. Gap at the front seems to be growing bit by bit. But Horvat very much on the pace. So, and if there is anyone to challenge Tony Ukic, it's Robert Horvat. He has done so many times in the past, in previous league races at RRLeagues, but also at UnitedRacersLeague.com, which has been merged to RRLeagues.com last year. And that's where we also get our R-Factor 2 series from. There's a battle brewing at the very back of the pack. Elio Fernandez versus Ben Reynolds. Colin Barker lost the position. He's in 5th now, but he's still in the lead of the AM Cup. Merazzi, Reynolds and Fernandez are covered by... yeah, you can see them on the screen, are covered by 5 seconds, but they are miles away from Colin Barker, almost 30 seconds behind. So Colin just has to stay calm for the next 12 minutes and try to bring that second win of the evening home. Fernandez goes through on Reynolds. So Reynolds at the moment struggling a bit. Maybe the longer race is taking its toll. So Merazzi at the moment taking 2nd spot. Having a look at the last best lap times, Elio Fernandez just 1/10 quicker for the last lap between Fernandez and Merazzi, so not a big difference between them. The lead gap once again growing to 7, almost 8 seconds now for Tony Ukic, to 12.5 for Tony Ukic with a valid lap. So that's quicker than his qualifying lap. He's really on fire at the moment. Merazzi 4 seconds in front of Fernandez. Let's see what that battle brings. Fillingham is 3 seconds behind Barker. He might be getting close by the end of this race to take 5th spot from him. But the main focus for Barker, I think, also is the AM Cup. But if he can, he will try to keep Fillingham behind, of course, taking more points for his finishing position. Metcalf, the best of the home racers, in 4th spot. A 13.1 for Tony Ukic. And a 14.6 for Horvat. So 1.5 seconds lost for Robert Horvat in 2nd position. Let's drive on board with our admin Simon Fillingham. He's closing down the gap on Barker. And Greg Metcalf not really dropping back from his teammate Vlastimir Lucas, so that team play, well, working out, but Lucas still having a 9-second gap to Horvat, so not really closing that down, but that was not really expected either. At the moment though, it's Lucas and Metcalf for BH Racing coming out on top for the team's points here out of this race. Here's Greg Metcalf behind his teammate. And Metcalf setting his fastest lap of the race just on this last lap. So he's doing well. He's improving his lap times. But Tony Ukic's fastest lap over 1 second quicker than all the rest of the field. So really in a class of his own in this race and in this championship at the moment. Let's see if anyone can challenge him in the upcoming 3 races. But it's important to note there's still 7.5 minutes to go, and any mistake can be fatal and can mean loss of position. Fillingham now in 6th. I wonder what Barker will do. Will he fight for position, or will he just let Fillingham go and not risk any incident with him to lose his AM Cup lead here for this second round in the 40-minute race. A bit wide there for Fillingham. Really trying to put the pressure up and then get that 5th position for the team, of course. Ukic most probably will win this race, but Fillingham needs to grab team points as well to stay in front of BH Racing. That's very important. You need to take all the points that you can get. And well, if you like what you see here today with a limited grid of drivers, which should be bigger again for the Nürburgring in 2 weeks' time, then well, we always like that you hit the like button if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon to get notified of future streams and videos. We have these streams bi-weekly, Formula Race Room Junior series, and then on Sundays, last Sunday we had the DTM 92 stream, which is provides some epic racing. We have 2 commentators there. One is myself, the other one is the driver we are riding with, Simon Fillingham. Well, even with 2 commentators, we can't catch all the action, so make sure to tune in for that. But even better, as Simon puts the pressure on Colin, but breaks early and opts out of the move just yet. Still 5 minutes to go. As I was saying, if you want to get involved in racing, that's even better than just watching the races on YouTube. You can get racing with us very, very soon. Oh, and Simon tries to avoid getting into the back of Colin Barker and spins it through the Maggots-Beckett's complex. And that's, well, race over for Simon, in the sense that he will probably not get that 5th position that he worked so hard for. So very unfortunate. But if you want to get racing with us, just head on over to rrleagues.com or join us on Facebook, Twitter, Discord, and we will for sure help you in our nice community to get racing with us. We have drivers from all kinds of levels. We have the likes of Tony Ukic driving in Division 1 in the VEC, for example. And we have our drivers in the AM Cup, which are sometimes less experienced. So we have championships catering for all tastes. This one here is an open wheeler series. We have the DTM, the old DTM series. We have a flat 6 series in R Factor 2, and another open wheeler series in the FR90s. In this summer series, we very often run GT3 cars. Also the modern DTMs pass our list. We use the endurance pack in our last season from R Factor 2. So well, there's a great variety of championships, cars, tracks that we offer at rrleagues.com, and we try to offer as well as professional or professionally organized league as possible. And we all do it for free, so no entry fees, no payments to be made to race at rrleagues.com, unless of course you need to buy some kind of mod that we are racing. So if you want to get involved, contact us there, and I'm sure that our beautiful community will welcome you with open hands. So now with 2.5 minutes to go, let's put the focus on the man in form here in this championship, Tony Ukic. Flawless performance from him today, a race win in race 1 from pole position, and he's looking to win race 2 once again, making it 5 out of 6 wins, 5 races out of 6 won by Tony Ukic. Very dominant performance by him, and that will continue to be so in the upcoming 3 races, I'm sure, to claim his first RRL driver's title very, very soon. If he keeps it together, of course. Maybe getting ahead of myself a little bit, but it would be his first title if he grabs this one. In second spot we have Robert Horvat still, and Metcalf and Lucas seems like they got together. They were swapping places at some point here. And Fillingham now crashed it terminally. It seems he doesn't get going. Let's quickly go on board. I still hear an engine sound, but he is back in the garage, so a non-finish here for Simon Fillingham. Very unfortunate. He didn't have the night that he wanted here today. But Robert Horvat in second spot. He only joined in the second round last 2 weeks ago at Valkenburg and doing well. Vlastimir Lucas is in third spot. He took second in the first race, also performed well at Valkenburg, so looking close for the Drivers' Championship. His teammate Greg Metcalf in fourth spot, so BH Racing taking good team points here. Then our AM Cup leader Colin Barker, half a minute in front of his main rival in the second race, Stefano Merazzi, also setting a very good performance, but Colin Barker just as dominant as Tony Ukic here today, taking 2 wins in the AM Cup. Elio Fernandez started from pole, is now down into 7th, but will probably claim a final podium spot in the AM Cup. And then we have Ben Reynolds, the last of the running order, driving or racing with an injury today, but a good damage control drive from him in the second race. First race went a little bit better, and then our only non-finisher of today across both races is Simon Fillingham. So as we can see, everything quite evenly matched, but Tony Ukic crossing the line, saluting the grandstands and his team crew to take the win in race 2 at Silverstone Historic Circuit. Robert Horvat will take second position just behind him. Vlastimir Lucas will finish in third, followed by his teammate Greg Metcalf. Colin Barker still running, he will win the AM Cup and finish 5th overall. Stefano Merazzi in 6th and 2nd in the AM Cup. Elio Fernandez in 3rd and Ben Reynolds in 5th. So back to our race winner here on the Hanger Straight. Very dominant performance, as I was saying, but it is impressive how well Tony Ukic is doing here in his first race room league that he is participating in. So well, if you have some talent, you can carry it over to many sims if you work for it, and that's Tony Ukic is living proof of that. Bad luck for Simon Fillingham, but well, those are races that can happen, and the next one will be better for sure. And here are the final results. Tony Ukic taking the clean sweep, fastest lap, pole position and 2 race wins. Nothing to be said against that. And then all that is left for me today is thank all of our viewers here today, and see you in 2 weeks time at the Nürburgring for round 4 of this championship. And as I said, most importantly, if you like the stream, give it a like, give it our channel a subscription, and join our website and Discord to get racing with us, because that's what we really want, rather than having people looking at our races, we want people participating in them and living their virtual racing career. So that was all for me today. Many thanks for watching, and see you in 2 weeks time, or less than 2 weeks time, because I will be back for the season 29 DTM versus Merck stream, not this Sunday but on the next Sunday evening, together with my fellow admin Simon Fillingham. So that's all for me. Good night.